classic shamanic skill, as is casting out demons and sending an illness into the flames of a fire. They are classical techniques of shamans everywhere. On my many travels to study with shamans and to study the knowledge of shamanism, I have run into shamans who, in addition to their shamanic practice, were also devout followers in a great variety of religions: Tibetan Buddhism, Hinduism, Catholicism, Taoism, Evangelical Christianity, Huna, Native American spirituality, Incan, Mayan, Toltec, and yes, even Islam. Clearly, then, shamanism is more a way of doing things than a religion, since it has no book, no hierarchy or leader, and no dogma. In this respect, many people have been mistaken as to the true nature of shamanism. It is more like saying someone is a pragmatist, rather than saying they are a Hindu. And yet shamans are definitely involved in spiritual practice. They honor the web of life, the interconnectedness of all things, and they see spirit in everything and everyone. They address spirit in all their ceremonies, and they pray frequently. They employ spiritual allies to help them in situations too difficult to figure out under ordinary means. Most shamans performing service in their local communities never become famous or well-known outside of their communities, and as a consequence, we do not hear or learn about shamanism in everyday life. However, Jesus became very well known historically, not because he sought fame, but simply because of who he was and the power of his expression. Therefore, he is a powerful and wonderful example of a shaman that we can witness practicing his trade to perfection. I like that Steve and Sally have been able to connect examples from quantum physics to Jesus' ministry, because in shamanism we can see many examples of quantum physics at work. In Toltec shamanism, for example, there is a concept that for something such as an illness to exist, it has to have a container made up of particles. They say you cannot remove the illness without removing the container that holds it in physical form. In other words, they found a way to describe disappearing something unwanted in terms that are now understood by physicists. As evidenced by his healing techniques, Jesus was well aware of the practice of disappearing disease. He knew how to issue psychic commands that take apart the particles that hold something together and release them, so that his patient no longer suffered from the malady. He knew that matter responds to thoughts and observation, just as the physicists say it does. With a thought, he could heal, and this is the heart of shamanic practice, using thought and intention to reorganize matter. As Jesus predicted, someday this will eventually be a widespread practice. The authors do a thorough job verifying through Scripture that healers accessing universal knowledge and working with many spirits are sincerely doing God's work when they heal injury, disease, and psychological problems, whether or not they identify as Christian. They further reveal through Psalms that objects of nature like the sun, the animals, the trees, and the sea are all considered to be conscious and know who their Creator is. Not only is the biblical position that they are conscious, but that they help and assist human beings as helping spirits. This is exactly the shaman's understanding of the physical reality we live in. The authors also lay out in a very organized way through Scripture the reason that shamanic practice is aligned with Christian ways. For example, they delve into the issue of authorization, where shamans derive their authority and where Christians should derive theirs, the cosmic Christ embedded in Jesus' teachings. They explain the importance of melding the heart with the head, combining reason with the heart's knowledge, and show how important this is to Christians and shamans both. It is the essence of their understanding of the cosmos. They take a deep dive into the whole issue of divination, mediumship, and prophecy, and explain how many Christians have been led to believe that these abilities damn shamanism from the Christian perspective, and how these prejudices don't add up.